very good evening to you, and thank you so much for staying tuned to Y254 TV. I hope you've had a lovely day today after everything that we've gone through as a country. And my greatest wish is that all of you are home, you're safe, your families and your loved ones are safe. And we want to talk about a conversation this evening on the Power Talk Show. I am your host, Cheryl Blessing, and one of the conversations we've been focusing on, one of the main topics, is the men's mental health. And the month of June is the Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And we've done a number of conversations just to highlight some of the issues that our men are going through. And even today, we do not fail to recognize that our men are dealing with a lot more that sometimes society expects from them, society subjects them to, and the world. You know, there's that thing about carrying a heavy burden on your shoulder. And I want us to talk about how we can overcome some of the challenges that life sends our ways, especially challenges that we feel like they're almost impossible to get over, and challenges that are so devastating, loss that you can't even put into words. And I'm joined this evening by a gentleman who's going to share his story. And I'm loving his energy. He's such a powerful, powerful guy. I'm here with Brian Maithya'S. And Maithya'S, thank you. Ukwaje, Brian? I'm loving your energy. Brian is the founder of Bliss Impact. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm very much okay. Energetic and excited.
I love that.
Yeah, about whatever is happening here.
Sindio, I love that energy. Unajua, hata mimi nakujanga huku na masaik sana. Sometimes people wonder when I'm going to work, you know, when you're so excited about having different conversations and meeting new people. This is one of the conversations that I've been looking forward to, I think, for the entire month. Because the story it's very, very touching, you know, it's very emotional, it's very moving. And then meeting you today and seeing you, I'm just so inspired. Honestly, I love the vibe. So if you want to know what we're talking about, you have to stay tuned and listen to this conversation this evening. So I've asked you a question on our social media platforms so that you engage with me as we continue with our story today. I've asked you, do men get enough space to grieve in peace or in silence? That is what I want to hear from you. Do you think men get enough space to grieve? And do they do it in silence? Or are they given platforms and spaces for them to be vulnerable enough? That is what I want to hear from you today. We're having a conversation with Brian about a man's truth beyond the pain and beyond the everyday experience. So go on our platforms at Y254 and share, because I know so many people are going through a lot, especially with what's going on in the country currently. So sometimes you don't have a platform, and maybe you don't have a place to voice your opinions, to talk freely. This is the platform. So go on our comments at Y254 across all socials and let us know what you think about this conversation. Now, let me start with introducing Brian, the guy. So you have founded Bliss Impact. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, Bliss Impact is I can say is born or constructed from the word bliss. Bliss is a breakdown of Brian and Liz. Okay, Liz is a girl who went to be with the Lord. After 2 years in marriage, and the tagline of that Bliss Impact is birthing after burying. You can birth after burying, you know, because. So I just wanted to have her, or rather to just have something that is running for her legacy. Because she was a lover of peace. She was such a girl who loved giving to the less fortunate. She had partnered with some few cancer care centers in the country. So I said we can't just bury her like that. There must be something germinating from all this burying. So that's how Bliss Impact was.
I love the way you're describing this lady, because we know the name Liz. We don't know who Liz is. We just know she's not with us anymore.
Yes.
But tell us just, before we get into that, tell us about Brian, you, the man, before, like, what's your life been like to the point where you got to founding the Bliss Foundation. So what's your journey been like? Who are you? Who would you say you are?
Okay, myself, if I could just put who I am in few sentences, what has molded me? First of all, I'm a lover of God. I'm a friend to the Holy Spirit, because after everything happened, See, when we say what a friend we have in Jesus,
Yeah.
people leave, parents can leave, family can leave, friends can leave, even church can leave. But that close friend in the Holy Spirit, right, is what has molded who Bran has become past the pain. Because I know we'll be now getting into the story. So for me to move from Bran to Bliss Impact, it's been a journey. It's been a journey of almost like a year or two of grief. And I said, so for how long will we grieve when we're just stagnating and we are not doing anything? You know, and back in the church, this year the prophetic word is rebuilding. It's coming from, I think, the book of Isaiah 52:18. Yeah. And our mother in the church has called us back to rebuilding. Last year, 2024, was also rebuilding. So I said, now this year, why would God repeat the same word? So it's time to let go of the past pains and the pain points and try to change them to PowerPoint. Yeah. And that's how I said, now this year I partner with God to make me what He wanted me to be. So that's Bran, the man who is still in the process of being made. I'm still a man in the making. Because after everything that happened, which we're about to get into, you can only partner with Him to make you what He really wants you to be and why you were left. Because I believe after your spouse has run their race and they are gone and you're left, there's a reason for being left, right? So you have to partner with Him who knows the reason, so that He's able to show you the way. Because I believe that getting into a crossroad is not the end of the road. Yeah. Right? So you have to find the crossroad. Means you have so many roads. So without the Holy Spirit, without God who has allowed you to go through the pain, you can't know which exactly is the road forward after the loss.
You need guidance.
Exactly.
And I really love that you're saying that, because the conversation we were having even before, we were talking briefly about the way sometimes we don't know the plan. Like right now with what's happening in the nation, we've lost a lot of lives. People have died. Parents have buried young kids. You know, people have lost fathers, brothers, cousins. There's been a lot of bloodshed. And the quote that you've said is the tagline of your foundation is birthing after burying. And right now, where we are at, people feel pain. People feel there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of anger, because we don't understand what was the point. Like, someone is dead, what's the point? And you're talking about you finding partnership and meaning through your relationship with God. It's only through God that you'll figure out what the point is. But now tell us, because now we've learned that Bran you're a Christian and you're a founder of a company. But tell us, because the audience will love to know, something very significant happened in 2020, aside from COVID-19. So tell us just what happened in 2020.
2020, wow, a lot of stuff happened. Actually, I could go still back to late 2019. Late 2019, around October 11th. That's when we began to date. That's when a girl I had befriended for 1 year. Because I met that girl on the 26th of August, 2018.
I love the way you remember the dates.
I do. They are here. So I tried to just get to know her for 1 year, right? Who is this girl? And also, of course, she was doing better than me, so I was also afraid of approaching her. You know, when you ladies are doing better than us men, we'll always chicken out. We'll chicken out from approaching you, because maybe you're looking for what the man is driving, rather than what drives the man. So I was afraid of. So 2018, for one year until 2019 October, at Karura Forest, that's when the girl told me, today you have passed all the tests and we can now begin to date. And she told me, I'm yours.
Nice.
So October 2019, we begin to date. 2 weeks later, I get a job. The Bible says that whoever finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor with God. So that was a wife, even when she was still a girlfriend. Because 2 weeks later, favor began to follow me. I was seeking for a job for like 3 years since graduating. I graduated back in 2016. And for those 3 years, I'm tamacking until my job became tamacking. So early 2020, we opened a joint account to begin to save for our wedding. 2 weeks later, Then 2020 before COVID, of course, so those are key things that happened in late 2019, early 2020. The opening of our joint account and beginning to date. That's when now I'm somewhere and we are heading somewhere.
Yeah.
Around the same time before COVID, of course, we had already sat down. How many kids do we want?
You talked about everything, finances.
Exactly, and kids. And she was asking me, how many kids do you want? I told her, of course, 3. At the first born, of course, she must be a girl. What's the name? And I'm telling her, you tell me, you'll be the carrier. And she told me, you are the head of the family. What's the name? And I told her, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pick a piece of paper, you piece of paper. Write what is in your mind as the name of our baby girl. And we wrote. And the names rhymed, and we had not talked about it.
Wow.
Yeah, and the Greek, I think the Greek translation for Esther, Hadassah.
Yeah.
That's the name each of us wrote.
Nice. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think the thing I'm also loving, very significant things I've picked from your story.
Yeah.
First, you waited a whole year to get to know her before you started dating.
Exactly.
And it was because you were intimidated kidogo. And that also speaks about what men are going through these days. In the dating scene, kuna pressure. It's about what do you bring to the table, to do 50-50. There's a lot of materialistic expectations that go into it. So that puts pressure on you guys. But you knew Liz was the one. You knew from the get-go this is the woman you wanted to be with.
Yes, I knew that. Actually, that fear also pushed me to, we had a group we called Bethel. Bethel in the Bible, I think it means something nice, right? I can't remember. But that group we were meeting, ladies, guys, after church we are praying, and we were praying for spouse, for each other. I tell you the truth, I was praying for her to get a husband. I was feeling I'm not good enough for this girl. Yeah. And I'm praying even in tongues, Lord, bring that man to her. At the back of my mind, I know I love her. I'm interested. I'm attracted to her, but I don't want to make the move because I don't want to take no for an answer, and it will even break the small self-esteem I have. So I was praying for her to get. Yeah.
The struggle. But eventually, Liz was also on your vibe.
Liz was waiting.
Yeah, Liz was also praying about you. Who knew? Like, maybe alikuwa na vet. Unaona venye unasema tume checklist. Alikuwa anaangalia, is he a prayer warrior? Check. Can he speak in tongues? Check. Does he have discernment? So, that also speaks to sometimes the thing that we want, that we think we don't deserve, is meant for us. Yeah. It's also wanting us. So I think we have to go beyond our fear. We have to look beyond our doubts and just go for what we want.
Exactly.
So what gave you the courage? Eventually, when you decided, let me talk to her and tell her how I'm feeling, what gave you the courage that day?
Let me tell you, that day, I asked myself a question, and this is the question I asked myself. Nitafilaje, Liz tuko church pamoja, right? We in the praise and worship together, because we serve in we used to serve in the praise and worship. I'm still there. She was a soprano, I was a tenor. Sometimes we could stand next to one another in the way our praise and worship is arranged. And I asked myself, what will I feel if another guy, gathered the courage, approached the girl, and she's gone from the same church, and I see her. We used to live from Karen to town together. Now she's living in another dude. And I did not approach her and gotten a no for an answer, right? So I said, let me try. I be rejected. So that even when I see her with another dude,
at least tulijaribu.
I try. It's not like Peter. It's like Peter in the boat. These guys were so comfortable in the boat.
Sat there.
They were laughing at him, but he tried. He experienced and he had an experience of walking on water, regardless of the fact that he walked for a few steps. That was
It took courage for him to do that.
Exactly. So I had to gather myself, do my 3-piece suit, which I had been given by the guy who ended up being my best man. He gave me a 3-piece. I did the 3-piece and I went. I bought some 50 roses. I think 10 bob each. It was I spent like 500. I bought them. And some white chocolate because she had told me I'd done my due diligence. she was a white chocolate person, so I bought everything she needed.
Ladies, I feel like, ladies, if you're hearing this, first, find a man who's intentional. Because if a man wants to, he will. Men, I hope you're listening. You know, don't just desire someone uko hapo unatamani Liz na hata ujui anapenda chocolate gani. Hey?
I did my background.
Ulikuwa unafanya research. You knew.
Research over research.
You were ready.
I knew she was a red person, so I went for red roses.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
And you know, that also shows intentionality. You didn't just go because you wanted. And it also shows, I'm learning that it's not lust you had. No. You cared for her.
Yeah.
You were keen. You wanted to know, what does she like?
Yeah.
What does she appreciate? You wore a suit. Me apo. That's the part that gets me. That is the part that gets me. So kinda.
You'll be shocked she was not a suit person.
Yeah.
She came to give me a banter.
So eventually she was like, wow, you were doing too much.
Bro, unapokuja kudona na suit na feel nafanya interview.
Uko serious sana. Batu t-shirt.
But that day, I had to look my best.
I love that.
Yeah, I had to just, because if you're serious, people will take you serious.
They do.
Yeah.
And you were very, very intentional.
Yeah.
You went, she accepted, because she was also vetting you. Behind the scenes, well, yeah. But and then Sasa, eventually, let me also get to, a few months later, you opened a joint account to start planning for the wedding. And even before that, you've mentioned you were talking about your life after the wedding, your life after marriage, which is also important, because I feel like so many people these days, we romanticize the idea of a wedding, but we don't have the important conversations. We don't talk about, how are you? Are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? How do you react when you're angry?
Exactly,
you know, when we're broke, what are we going to do? We don't have the deeper conversation. So you prepared for all that, and you intentionally started planning for a wedding by saving.
Yes. Yeah, because you know, one thing I think that is killing many relationships and marriages if you don't address the money issue. Yeah. Right? The moment you allow money to come in between you, even when you're dating, it's a red flag. Let me tell you, it's something that needs to be addressed to mapema. So I knew that for us to open a joint account, we are now beginning to build trust. It's a test of trust. Because we said we're not going to be sending one person money to forward. You send, I send me the confirmation, accountability. So we began to address the issue of money. Because if you can't address it during dating, you're not going to address it during marriage.
Exactly. Because, you know, money is one of those sensitive issues where when you bring money, ati parents, wazazi wa mtu, you have to talk about that before. Yeah. You know, exactly. I recently watched, I rewatched a movie about people who are getting married. So they were dating, they were so in love. But then one person, the lady hadn't met the mom of the guy. Yeah. And the mom of the guy was those moms who are nitpicky. No, I don't think you're good enough for my son. You need to do this. You're not doing that enough. You're bad, but unajifanya sana. You know, do you know that almost cost them their whole relationship because they did not have that conversation before. And you need to have those conversations. And you did, you were planning, you were ready. Yeah. So I'm assuming, ilikuwa before, when you started the joint account, it was before COVID. It
was before COVID because it was 1 month, it was 2 weeks after dating, after we started dating. Okay. Remember we started, so it's early November when I'm getting a job, right? And at that time we are making commitments and I'm jobless. Right, and after now 2 weeks is when I got now a job. Yeah. So when we are opening that bank account, she told me, "Love, because you're not working, we open the account. We do 5K. You're not working. You do 3. I do 3. You do 2. I said yes. I only had 200 to buy her juice down here at some hotel down here in town. Yeah. Around Archives, but I said. Yes, I'm going to get the 2K. So sometimes we put also faith in what we want. Let me tell you, when I got home, if I digress a little bit, I got home, I'm in the tech industry, and I'm a hands-on person. So I used to make cables, Ethernet cables. I know the tech guys here knows the Ethernet cables. Yeah. So I could buy a ream of like 305 meters. I cut it into 3 meters, 1 meters. I got home, and in our apartment there was this wall sockets, the data points. And I find 2 ladies waiting for me. We need you to install for us a router and connect it to the to the data points in our room, in our houses, and configure it with our custom SSID. I did that. Guess what I got? 2,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
So God responded immediately,
Yeah,
because you put faith.
Yeah, and because by the time I'm getting home, the girl had already sent her 3K to me.
Eish.
So putting
I'm
pressure.
loving that.
Ah, goodness. So I told her, love, I've also gotten my 2K. I forwarded to Hekima account, and we were good. By the next month, I have a job. We pushed it to 5.5. So we began to do 10.
I love that. So how long after did you have the wedding? Because eventually in 2020, that's when you had your wedding.
Yeah.
So how many months later? Because I imagine with COVID, it disoriented the plans kidogo.
They did not, because we did not allow the COVID to just, because there was something coming. So a slight adjustment on our wedding for even a week.
Yeah.
We could not have had it.
So you planned the date when you were opening the account. You knew exactly when we're getting married, and you locked it in regardless of whatever is happening around. This is our day.
Exactly.
How did that planning go? That must have been so fascinating.
It was a hard one, because here we are. We've already begun to save, and we are saving. Then March, COVID hits. The same March is when my probation is coming to an end. Am I being confirmed? I'm not sure. Anyone who is on probation, of course, it's not any medical cover. Not any medical cover. So the guys on contract, they began to be, of course, the organization has to protect everyone.
Yeah.
So I saw some guys being given letters here and there, and I was like, good, let's have the next one. And we are saving for our wedding. Let me tell you, someone resigned from the department, IT department.
So you got absorbed like that.
So at least we were able to keep now pushing for our wedding and all that, right? So the planning was of course we had issues because of finances. They were not looking so good in terms of, you're putting 10K, and our wedding is coming on 21st of November, 2020. So we have basically 1 year.
Yeah.
So 1 year, 12 times 10, 120.
Not enough.
And where I come from.
When you think about everything.
Yeah. So we were trusting God, and we even began to contemplate pushing the wedding. But we had some prayers with my wife's bro and his girlfriend, who now is the wife, right? And we were praying we could meet one Friday, the last Friday of the month, for Acacia. So this one Friday we are praying, and we are just from talking with Liz and saying, hey, the way things look, we got to postpone our wedding. We have not told no one. Then this lady, just amidst the prayers, she's prophesying, and she tells us that God is saying, do not postpone your wedding, because something is coming in April. We had talked about getting our kids immediately. Yeah. Right? And we just began to say, it's the key. Wedding is 21st November. April is basically 5 months, barely 5 months after the wedding. So
Hadassah is on her way.
Hadassah is on her way. So you shoot your shots immediately after. And because
we're like, now we're locked in.
Because
but then you were sure.
Because we are working, we did not want to wait. We just want to grow with our babies.
And then I think also with the 2020, it made things make you realize, take your chances right now. Don't stop living at it for tomorrow or whatever. Exactly. Do it today. So you pushed through. The wedding was a success.
Kabisa.
I love that.
Yeah, I proposed on the 13th of September, 2020. Then oh goodness. Then a few weeks later, I did my ratio. Then 2 weeks later, the wedding. Very beautiful wedding.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love the way you're also smiling. Like we can tell when a man is in love. Because first, remembering the dates. Hey, wanaume wenye najua wengi, unaombianga ati, babe unajua ni anniversary yetu, wako like, they have to scroll up, you know, and find the chart. So when did we start?
You're cooking something because you need a chocolate.
You know, now it looks like you're lying all of a sudden. But I love that you are very keen. Yeah. You remember the dates of every single event. You remember how it happened. Yeah. So it shows you really, really loved Liz.
Yeah, so much with everything I had.
I love that. So in April, you were looking forward to a baby. You wanted a bundle of joy.
What are you saying? And you see, God has already given you a name, remember?
Yeah.
So Hadassah was coming. You know, and you know who Esther was in the Bible.
Yeah, she's a queen. I think she's one of my favorite characters of the Bible.
So we were seeing, you see, through Esther, that's when the Jews that's how the Jews were prevented from being exterminated.
Yeah.
So we were seeing a savior of a generation, Hadassah saving her generation in whichever generation she would have been.
Yeah.
So that's what we were waiting for in April. Shock on us.
So what happened?
Oof. So that day of the wedding, the girl, of course, Liz was this perfectionist. So she wanted her wedding to be on top of everything, every service provider. So she lost a lot of weight. The last one month of the planning.
Okay.
But of course, at least the gown was.
And you know, I'm not gonna lie. For the ladies, that's our dream come true. Until
Exactly.
losing weight before the wedding, because I will look so hot in these
Flat tummy.
photos. Ati flat tummy. Unafaa usikie venye hapo tu kwa studio na ngoja nimeze tumbo kwanza. Ndio saa for the photos.
Yeah. So that day of the wedding, we woke up at around 3
Yeah.
to pray. We're just committing the day before God, and my girl is asking me, "Do you remember your vows?" Because we did not want to read our vows. We wanted just to speak what is in the heart.
From the heart, yeah.
And I told her, I'm trying, but of course, I will not insult you. I will tell you something sweet.
Yeah.
Even if I forget what is written, it will be
we'll look for something.
Yeah, so that day, the day started well, and of course, we got to church a little bit late. The 10K went with the pastor. And
no.
the wedding was a beautiful one because she had always dreamt of having her wedding in our church where I fellowship. And God just honored that wish. That's why we did our wedding.
Yeah.
Then after we are done, of course, the processes and all that, I don't need to go there. Then now we go to a photo shoot venue. So on our way, she tells me that she's feeling some toothache on her right cheek. She's feeling that toothache and all that, and I tell her, maybe you're just overwhelmed by the entire thing happening today. It's gonna be well. I used just to encourage her. So we did our photo shoot. Then we did our reception at the Ndigwa.
Ooh.
It's called which garden? Sagret Gardens.
Nice.
Yeah, because that's
I'm lucky. I wish I was at that wedding. Like I'm just picturing it, and I was like, wow.
That's the same place I did the proposal.
Oh.
Exactly, where some guys.
Okay, Brian, I feel like you need to stop making me feel like, oh my God, because the intentionality. I'm like, wow. I wish I experienced and saw this love story.
It was a beautiful one.
It
was a beautiful one, and. So we get there, people are dancing, and just people are having fun, fun of their life, and the girl is happy, and we finished everything, and it was now time to proceed to the hotel where we were to spend the night. By the time we are getting there, the cheek is swollen so badly, and I was like, no, what's happening? You think like you've danced that much that, and
something happened,
and she was in so much pain. So through the help of our best couple, we got some diclofenac, and they brought us to the hotel, and they left. We were just there, and I'm praying with her, and I'm telling her it's gonna be well. I'm encouraging her like the husband, you know, now you're mine, you're my wife,
hey.
And I'm here. I'm your strength. I'm your pillar of strength. So I'm almost tempted to make a joke, but she took the diclofenac, the pain, subsides and all that. Yeah, and we slept. Of course, you have to choose which pain.
And sometimes when you're in pain, and especially when I'm imagining it's supposed to be the happiest day of your life. Kwanza for women, kwetu yetu ni dramatic. Yeah. Wedding day yangu nimevaa hivi white, ati niishe nikienda hosi. Yeah. No.
So it was a bad one. It was not a good night. It was not really a good night, and I had just to just tell her that it's going to be well. Yeah. And in the morning, of course, we wake up, we check out at around 10. We had some vouchers we needed to redeem in one of the supermarkets. We passed by there and we went home. The next day, of course, that is on a Sunday. On Monday, we have to catch a flight to Mombasa. And we can't cancel the flight, and she's swollen really bad. So we bought more diclofenac.
Because at this point, it's just painkillers. And then, sometimes we neglect a toothache. Unashindwa, maybe ni meno inamea, maybe something I ate, something that affected me. Yeah. We really dismiss the pain.
So we proceeded to Mombasa, South Coast, Diani, and it was pain. Let me tell you, it was pain. It was pain. I could see the girl in so much pain. Because now at this point, the swelling is increasing. She has to take some stuff. She needs to eat there, so there are things she can't eat. And we are there to have fun. So was it even fun?
And you know, it's much worse when you're not at home.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had to travel back. We of course, it was 4 or 5 days of pain and all that. So on Saturday, we had to travel back. We had already spoken to our best couple of what is happening, and they had already organized us some dental center to go for a checkup somewhere around, I think, Hurlingham.
Yeah.
We went in on a Sunday. On a Sunday
As
morning,
soon as you
she
came
could
back.
she could not take it anymore. So we had to go to the checkup. Remember,
And I want to let me hold it right there. Tuende break alafu turudi.
sawa.
Cause mi bado mi nataka nibaki kwa hiyo fairy tale kidogo. Nataka bado ni dance kwa hiyo harusi. But then it's so fascinating the way everything just escalated immediately.
Very fast.
But I want to know what happened, what's the diagnosis. But before you tell me what happened and everything that happened after, I want us to take a very short break. Kidogo tu, tuende tukunywe maji.
Okay.
You know, watu wa nyumbani, tafuta snacks. Kimbia mbio mbio, si ndio?
yeah, kweli.
Because, I'm telling you, we have such a deep story that we're sharing on set today. And we want everyone to be on board. We want to figure out why is Brian smiling this much when Liz ni kama hayuko, you know. So let's take a very short break. Go on our platforms at Y254 meanwhile and tell us, do you think men are given enough space to grieve? And do we give them the platforms? Do we give them the, just the encouragement? And are we there? Do we support our men in their grief? Tell us by going to our platforms at Y254 and stay tuned because we'll come back. Brian is going to tell us more about what happened and how he dealt with everything else. So stay tuned for all that.